Hello, everyone. I was jamming to the music. Welcome to All Things Undone podcast. I am your host, Granny. She is. On this show, we talk about life after divorce and how to move forward successfully, how to become your authentic self, how to heal. And tonight's topic is the messiness of healing. Because, first of all, this shit is not for the weak. It is absolutely not. And secondly, we have ups and downs and highs and lows. And we're going to talk about the nasty, nitty gritty part. Because sometimes people, when you see them, they be like, girl, I'm at peace now. I've grown. Okay. Tell me about that part. That's what I want to ask. Tell me about that part. Before we get into it, my guest is Elaine Dilyn. She is the host of Dilyn's Dive Bar. She has, it's all about health and wealth on her show, as well as making the latest mixed drinks. And if y'all don't know anything else, I love me a tequila sunrise, a margarita, anything made with tequila, because tequila is my favorite drink.
Me too.
Yay! So y'all stay posted towards the end. We probably get us the recipe or two out of her.
Possibly. Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you. Welcome to the show. For everyone who's joining, thank you so much for joining. Please comment. The group is private now, so please share the link with someone else so they can join us as well. And I'll tell you after Elaine gives her introduction why we did that. So the floor is yours. Welcome. Tell us all about your podcast and yourself.
Thank you. So first off, thanks for having me on the show. So my name is Randy, but my full name is Randolyn. So I kind of break it up. I normally go by Randy because I'm named after my dad. But when you break up my name, Dilyn is on the end. So Elaine is my middle name. That's how we get Elaine Dilyn. So that's my, I guess, persona media kind of thing. And well, for a time in college, I thought I was going to do like fashion. And I was like, oh, that'll be a cute name, Elaine Dilyn. And it just kind of stuck. So I can't draw to the least. I was going to find me somebody who was going to do it. But that was like, I was like, that could be a cute little name for a line. And it just stuck, and being Elaine Dilyn. So my podcast, Dilyn's Dive Bar, is about being better versions of ourselves.
Right.
I always tell people I'm never worried about the next person. I am in competition with me from yesterday, and I am chasing me 10 years from now. That's the goal. You know, I know that whoever she is, 10 years from now, that's who I want to be. That's who I'm trying to get to. So that's the whole premise of the show. Talking about the conversations that we need to talk about. Like our first episode was about therapy. And I know a lot of people shy away from that word, and they have all these misconceptions and preconceived notions. And we really want to just break down why it's so important for us to seek therapy, because we go through a lot throughout life. And sometimes you just need someone that you can bounce your ideas off of without them having an emotional attachment to your situation. Because I know sometimes with family, if it's involving them, it's hard to talk to them about it. And then it makes, Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner real awkward because y'all had this conversation. So, you just need an unbiased third party who you can say, okay, these are all of my feelings, and this is how I'm feeling. And then they can help you sort through them, which is really all they do. TV gives that misconception that they give you all this like direction, and mostly it's just them helping you navigate through your thoughts so you can come up with your own solution. And it's really important to have that. So that's the premise of the show. Just, having a safe environment for us to really talk about some hard-hitting topics. And some of them aren't as hard-hitting. They're a little fun. The last one we did was about skincare. And even though it's important, it wasn't one of those ones where it's like, oh, Jesus, I need a shot after this. It was, more of a, a fun topic. But I'm a professional bartender, which is why we did the dive bar, because I've been in hospitality literally my entire adult life. So I just wanted to share my love for the industry and being at the bar and all of those things, because at the bar, that's literally what you do. If you sit at a bar at any amount of time, you will end up having all kind of conversations with people you don't know. And sometimes it's some of the best encouraging, uplifting conversations you've ever had just sitting at the bar. So that's the whole environment and vibe that we're going for in the dive bar.
Beautiful. Thank you for explaining all that. And it ties right into our topic tonight, which is the messiness of healing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So thank you for that. And you're right. Anybody who's ever pulled up to a bar I love sitting at bars. I'm not even gonna shout out the restaurant because I'm gonna ask them first if I can shout them out. But I found this little spot and I used to always pass it for years. You know why? Because I thought, oh my God, that place is stupid expensive.
Mm.
So a friend girl, hi,
Hey.
yay, we're so glad to have you. Hold on, I got to pull up my comments over here so I can see who I'm talking to. Hi, Catherine, CC, glad you could join us today. So yeah, long story short, um, found this little spot. They have Monday through Friday happy hour, like from 4:30 to 6. Best little drinks for $5, best little mini menu, and you get to hobnob. And
Mm.
y'all, look, my glasses are like twisted. You get to hobnob with all of the wealthy people and people who have connections and things like that. So it's one of my little spots. So thank you for joining. Now, I do have to make a couple of announcements before we get rolling into all the nitty gritty. If you caught last week's show, then you definitely want to be here for this show. Last week,
Right.
we were cutting up. We were
Last
cutting
week
up
was a doozy.
for sure. If I didn't learn no other term, I learned what a dry orgasm was.
Honey.
And men
Yes.
have, anyway, go catch that show. We're not going to talk too much about that. You got to go look at that one. All right. So a couple of announcements. We did turn All Things Undone Facebook group into a private community. And the reason I had to do that was to cut out the riffraff. We have people coming in who were posting inappropriate links in the chats, and it was people trying to sponsor, drop other type of links in there that
Mm.
wasn't a small business. It was like Temu, like join Temu and all that. I'm not
Mm-mm.
promoting big businesses like that. If you are a small business owner or an entrepreneur, please reach out to either me or Wayne. We will more than happy. If you're a member of this group, we will put your things up to, to share it with other members for free. Okay. If you are a member of All Things Undone Facebook group, we will share your stuff. Just let us know what it is. We do need to vet it just in case it's something that'll get my page shut down. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. Okay. So we will vet it, but we are here to help this community grow. Secondly, my video is sponsored by my business, 1-800-RESUME. So if you need a resume or a cover letter, please reach out to 1-800-resumes.com, or you can dial the number on the screen. The best way to get me is 1-800-resumes.com. We do have a resume special for $44.44. You can get your resume and cover letter done so that I can help you get that next interview. So y'all hit me up on that one. This video is sponsored by 1-800-RESUMES. Yay!
Yes. Yes.
All right, now on to the topic about healing. But before we get to that, this show was built on the premise of divorce. It happens. It happens. We're going to share some stats in a minute. But it happened recently, one that's been in the news. And honestly, this is not a couple that I follow on a regular basis because I'm just really not into celebrities like that. This is two couples. The first one, a lot of people may not even know about, but it's Hugh Jackman and Deborah Jackman. They have just recently announced their divorce after being married for 27 years.
Wow. Wow.
27 years they were married, and now they are splitting in divorce. They gave their statements directly to People's Magazine. That's where this picture comes from. And they said that they built a beautiful life together, but they found themselves on separate journeys. And so they're splitting amicably. Now, the article went on to say that Deborah is actually a little bit more devastated because Hugh broke the news to her that he wanted a divorce.
Mm.
So she is processing that news. And of course, they're asking that they do that in private because that is devastating. It's heartbreaking. Your entire world, as you know it, is changing. The second couple has gotten so much press, and it is Jeezy and Jeannie Ma. Jeezy and Jeannie Ma. They are also headed for a divorce. Now, Jeannie Ma is fighting this. And Jeezy is like, deuces, I'm out. And I think my producer shared a video snippet with me of her talking about some of the things she was doing for him in the bed. So I don't know what happened, but they two are on two different journeys, apparently, and they split.
Oh my.
It happens. I know Jeezy is the rapper. Jeannie Ma is a
She's a talk show host. She was on The Real.
yeah, on The Real. So yeah, they have decided to call it quits, and I think they've been together for some years as well.
They actually haven't been together that long. I want to say this is like 2 years marriage.
That's it.
Yeah, they haven't. They never. I don't think. I may think if you add up all the time they were together, maybe that's 5 years, but that's pushing it.
Don't they have a child that's older than this? Okay, the child is older than the amount of years they've been married. Then so they got like a 4-year-old.
Uh,
Don't ask me again, y'all. I'm sorry.
I'm
Keep on the
I'm not
celebrity.
really big on following celebrities, but what I will say is that I remember when they announced that they were getting
Mhm.
married, and they
Okay.
both seemed very excited and very you know positive about
Okay.
the direction they were going in. I know this is her second divorce, so I feel bad for her because this is the second attempt at marriage and it's not working out. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, to get divorced once is bad, but to get
Mhm.
divorced for a second time, and because she's who she is, it's so public, it's hard to, I mean, it's hard to go through anything in front of other people. And then you
Very
got
true.
everybody giving their opinions, and I mean, it's like you're not in their marriage, you're not in their life. So anybody on the outside who's like, oh, I knew it, or I didn't think they were gonna last, like it's so unnecessary because
Mhm.
I mean, my parents are divorced.
Right.
So I remember going through that as a family. And it's like that's hard on all parties involved. And to make it harder for them is just it's so mean. It's so reckless because it's already a hard process. And
That's
then
what
if
I
you
wanted
have,
to point out.
kids, that's a whole nother set of feelings
I
that
know
have to
it's
be
crazy.
addressed. And I think people forget celebrities
Mhm.
are not, those are two human beings behind the situation.
Right. That part. I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to point out Hugh Jackman and his wife and Jeezy and his wife. Now, Jenny Ma is actually contesting the divorce. She's going to fight for her marriage.
Mm,
Okay, so that's gonna they left that on a cliffhanger. It is to be continued. But what you said is the reason I wanted to point it out. These are actual human beings. They just happen to live their lives in public. And the
hmm.
same thing happens to all of us on a much smaller scale when you've been married and then all of a sudden you've been divorced. People do the same thing on a smaller scale. They forget that these are actual people who have
Yep.
to heal now, who are broken in many different ways, not just, you know, financially, even though a lot of people will look and say, if you're successful, then, oh, well, they got money. It's all right. Money doesn't heal heartbreak.
Nope.
It doesn't heal the trauma. It doesn't heal the pain. It doesn't take away the memories. None of those things. Everything still remains, you
Yeah.
know. So the first couple married 27 years.
That's a
I
long
can
time.
relate. I was married 25 years. So
Woo.
that you and Deborah Jackman, 27 years in the game. Okay.
Right.
And I will say this, if you have been married for more than 8 years, you win. It's a success, even if that marriage splits later on down the road, because you have defied the statistics. Let's pop the statistics up right quick and talk about them. Because I want to give y'all some encouragement. Just know this. Here are some stats for you. This is from Forbes magazine. Far more people get married over the course of a year than divorced. So just know that. And people are still getting married 6 to 1 divorce, 6 marriages to 1 divorce a year. Okay. Well, it's more than that, but you get the picture. The fact still remains that over half of all marriages do indeed end in divorce. And the average length of a marriage is 8 years. So if your marriage survives 8 years, you have defied the odds. Congratulations,
Mm,
you win no matter what. Now, the leading factor for most divorces is the lack of commitment, followed closely by infidelity and financial issues. So, lack of commitment. That's
wow.
the real reason marriages don't work is because people literally say, I give up. Because even if you're in a relationship, guess what? You still have to work at that. You still have to work to make it be what it's going to be. And for the ones who say, I call it quits, I don't want to do this, it's over, then comes divorce. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit because I divorced, I separated. And then that first year that we were separated in 2019, honestly, I was just kind of going through the motions because heartbreak will have you on autopilot.
Yeah.
you don't even recognize you're on autopilot because of the things that you start doing, because you do things to mask your hurt.
Yeah.
um you're coping, whether that's, most times if you're not healed. In my state, I had to kind of start waking up to the fact that, okay, I got to focus on me. One of the things that I did, and I think a lot of people go through this, is I focused on my partner who I was separated from, like to an obscene degree. More so than I focused on myself. Right. I focused on my ex-partner now, my ex-partner to an obscene degree, so like making excuses to call, and chasing to some degree. And I found out that even after our divorce was final in 2020, kept that pattern with chasing other men. Now, some women won't admit that, but honestly, if we being real out
Come
here
on.
in these
Come
streets,
on. Come on.
out here in these streets, all of us have chased a guy or two that we really wanted, but because I didn't recognize who I was, like my worth, I was like, oh my God, yeah, I'm gonna go after this guy, and I'm gonna pursue this guy, and be calling and texting, and then kind of getting to the point where they're not calling and texting back. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Let me go ride by this motherfucking house. Cause
right. Got your friends Facebook stalking them and all that stuff. Yeah.
I done circled your block 5 times, nigga. I know. You see this big ass red Charger.
Right. I know you see me.
I know you see me. Okay. So that part, like, dang, like what? So went through that. Have you ever had that experience where you got with someone, you were dating them, and you liked them a little bit more than they liked you, or and then you felt like y'all liked each other the same amount, but all of a sudden this mofo done dropped off in communication, and now he acting funny when you texted him and whatnot, and you're like, oh.
Yes, and this is the reason I don't believe in going backwards. So I had a college boyfriend, and everybody had told me when we were in school, they were like, don't get too attached to him because he was older than me. They were like, when he graduates, he's going home, he gonna marry his kid's mom.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And that's exactly what he did. And unfortunately, they got divorced. And then all of a sudden, I get a phone call or a text message or a Facebook message, and I allow myself to go right back into the old pattern when we were back in school. And it was like one moment we are texting, and then all of a sudden I'm the only one texting. Right. And he's a part of the police force, and it was a serious situation in North Carolina at the time, which is where he is. And so I'm like, they're like 12, 13-hour shifts, and everybody had to go, even though he was a detective, he had to go back in like uniform, and with all like the racial tension and everything like that, I was, I'm nervous for him because I'm like, Black people see Black cops, but they don't see Black cops, they see cops.
They don't see Black people. Yeah.
Yeah, like they don't say, oh, well, that's my brother, he just in a cop uniform, They see a cop and they see an enemy. And so I was nervous for him, and I'm like texting and calling and texting and calling, and then everything cleared up, everything was good. They went back to their, regular kind of shifts and everything, and I still didn't hear from him. And it's like, okay, so maybe he was just tired. Right. And he was pulling these long shifts. That's why we didn't talk. And so then I'm texting and calling again, and all of a sudden I'm seeing you on IG, and you putting up all these cute little posts and putting up all these videos, and I'm sitting here like, so you have your phone?
Yeah, right on it. In your face.
Yeah, you have your phone because you're posting stuff. So, and after a while I had to just tell myself, you're going backwards, and you are going back to being that young 20-something-year-old that put up with foolishness, and you're not her anymore. And he should not be able to put you back in that mindset where you're acting like her. So you're an adult. The writing's on the wall. Read the wall. Okay. Read the wall. And let it go. So I just had to you know what? Never mind. I'm gonna stop. And we've gotten to the point where, we kept in touch over the years, but it's been one of them things where you double tap to, like the post and just keep scrolling. So
Just
you
keep
get a double
scrolling.
tap and a scroll. That's
Y'all, listen, just keep scrolling. And look, I was so green because I got married so young. So dating was new. Like
mm-hmm.
actually dating was like this entirely new process. So
Yeah.
starting the day, I was like, at first in my mind, because I knew I didn't want to get hurt again, I was like, okay, dating stupid old men is going to be like the way to go. Let me just date 60 and 70-year-olds.
Oh my Lord.
I know, right? And that taught me. And look, this is dating, y'all. This is not sex. Okay. This is going out on dates to meet, to get to know someone. So please don't confuse that with thinking that these are people that I'm intimate with. No, nothing like that. Just dating. Okay.
Right.
So I decided I'm going to date up in age. And this is the lesson I learned with dating up in age. Just because a person is in their 60s and 70s does not mean they're mature mentally and spiritually.
No,
Girl, I have dated some old ass fools, and I'm like,
they're teenagers with a social security check.
yeah, like, dude. And look, I just found this term out last night. It was called grandpa thugging. Like, I've met a couple grandpa thugs. Like, sir, you 60 plus. Like, why are you out here acting like
Like
you
you 20.
25? Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't have a youthful spirit. For example, one guy, he loved to take me out to eat, and I love that. But he had a bad habit, an older guy had a bad habit of calling women bitches. Okay, in general conversation, like he didn't call me a bitch per se, but like in general conversation, he was like, "Let me tell you about these bitches out here." Oh wait,
Right.
wait a minute. What we? Yeah, thank you. Immaturity has no age limit. That is what I
Not at all.
learned. So then in my head, I'm starting to think, okay, Cheryl, it's something in me, and we're going to talk about this when we get to the end. But that's kind of start what triggering me to start reevaluating myself, my mental space, where I was because of the kind of guys I was attracting. And it didn't matter if they were old or young. They were men with money, like they could take care of themselves or whatever. Everybody came to the table with a bag. We like that. But here's what I learned. That does not constitute a genuine, authentic, I don't want to use the term high value because that just doesn't, like, quality person.
Yeah.
Because they had money didn't make them a quality person. Right. But I found myself like in the same pattern. I was like, oh my God, let me look at me because maybe I'm the problem. I keep attracting these same guys. Maybe I'm the problem. And what I mean by these same guys is it was one or two things that was happening. Either they wanted to jump in a relationship really quickly,
Which
and
is weird.
that's weird to me. And that's not for me because I had just gotten out of a long marriage. And to me, jumping into another commitment is not the way to go. Like, I finally can stretch out in this bed by myself. Thank you. Yeah. I started to ask myself because I'm not trying to jump into a relationship quickly. So
Right.
that was happening. Either the guys would want to start a relationship really quickly, which I was afraid of because some of the questions they were asking had me thinking they were like a hobosexual. Y'all know what a hobosexual is?
They trying to find a home.
Yeah, but they one of them hobosexuals, right?
Unfortunately. Yes.
They're trying to find somewhere to stay.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not what's happening. So I did have that happen. Had a guy try to move in on the flick, and I'm like, no, that's not what's happening. So I had to learn to grow through that. I'm like, what the hell is happening? Why I'm either attracting them that are attracted opposites. So it's polar opposite. Either they were trying to move in or they didn't want to move in and they just wanted to have sex. Now, me, and I got this little clip I'm gonna play in a minute. Now, me, I can deal with the just sex, depending on my mood. But here's the thing: we love that toxic shit until it don't work in our favor, and that's part of the healing
Honestly,
journey.
I think,
Yeah,
okay, here's my biggest issue when people say stuff like, oh, we just gonna do just sex.
right,
There's nothing wrong with a 100% physical relationship where
right.
it's just sex. There's nothing wrong with it. But everybody needs to be on the same page and be honest about it. And I've had this discussion with some of my guy friends, and I'm like, you have to understand, you don't have to lie to us or
Yeah.
wine and dine us if we both agree that all we're looking for is sex.
Right.
And I tell them, y'all keep saying we just want sex, but then you do things that a boyfriend would do. You know, I tell
Right.
them, if all y'all doing is wham bam, thank you, ma'am. If y'all banging and bouncing, if that's all you doing,
Mm-hmm.
good morning, sweetheart, and
I don't need all that.
good night and sweet dreams and moving night and all that. No,
Yeah.
no, you supposed to come in, handle the business, and bounce. There is no, who that on your Facebook page. That's not the subscription that you subscribe to.
Mm-hmm.
You bang and bounce. You don't get to know friends on Facebook. I don't have
No.
friends about you. You
Yep.
ain't meeting nobody. Ain't nobody meeting you. If you in the phone, it's a nickname, so nobody even know it's you. Like, if you're gonna be in
Yeah.
just a sexual relationship where all
Mhm.
y'all doing is banging and bouncing, then that's what you need to do. Don't
Right.
take her out to dinner because you're switching her mental gears into thinking that it's a relationship. And that's
Right.
your fault because you felt like, oh, I need to do all of these things just so we can have sex. No, you need to be honest and be like, all I want is sex so she can decide for herself, yes or no. And if she
Right.
say yes, and all she doing is sexting, you can't be over here wondering if she talking to other people because
Mm-hmm.
that's not what you subscribe to.
Right.
None of that. It's like stay at the level that you said you wanted.
Right.
And dudes try to be, possessive when, oh well, we was sleeping together. That's right. All you was doing was sleeping together. That does not mean she's not paying attention to nobody else on earth. All y'all doing is sleeping together. So it's
Right.
like, if you're gonna do that, just be honest and be safe. Like, the only thing you need to know is that everybody's practicing safe sex. Well, whatever we doing.
That part.
That's it. Like, you don't
Mhm.
need to know about her day, her friends. Is she talking to anybody else? Is she going out on a date? None of that.
Well, here's what I discovered though. 9 times out of 10, and this is not every man, okay? Because I haven't like on the Steve Harvey Family Feud. We asked 100 guys this question. I haven't slept with guys, so I
He ain't
don't
told the whole audience yet.
they told the whole audience. But what I've noticed with the people that I have dated is this: sometimes they don't know what the hell they want. They
Mm.
don't know. So they don't want a relationship, but they want companionship and they want it to go beyond sex. But at the same time, when the sex is over and I'm done doing all this, then I don't want that until the next time I want that. But consistency is also key. And I do need a male perspective on this. So, what I am going to do is ask my producer to join the conversation so that he can give me his perspective. Because from where I sit, some guys, not all, so don't get in your feelings if you're watching this. Some of them don't know what they want. They don't know if
Mm-mm.
they want relationship or just sex or to be friends. But on my healing journey, now I have to put this in a category, and I do need to put a label on it for my own mental clarity so I can
Mm-hmm.
know which direction I'm moving in, right? Because that's going to hinder me um in my progress. So this is one of the lessons I had to learn in dating.
What
I'm
up,
so
love?
glad you came on. Help me
What's
answer
happening?
help me answer this, because like we're talking about healing. It's not all roses, and we all haven't reached the stage of celibacy and what's the other word where you don't do nothing at all? Um, abstinence.
Oh
Abstinence.
Lord.
Look,
It's a
I don't
difference.
know what those mean.
He said, I do not subscribe to them prescriptions to the sex game at all.
So
Mm-mm.
yeah, tell me what's up with that? What's up with the hot and cold energy?
I don't. I put it like this: you gotta, it's one thing to get a woman's attention, but you also got to keep it.
Mm,
And even if it is just sexual, you know, my performance could say encore, encore, but at the same time, we already know men live in a competitive world. It's all we always feel like it's somebody else. Ain't nowhere in hell I'm the only one that wants you. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to step your game up just to make sure you keeping her attention. But unfortunately, uh, some dudes go a little too far.
they
Uh,
do.
and I ain't gonna say it's just dudes. It honestly, I've had these lessons with women too. Like I've told them
Okay,
stop
so
doing wife and girlfriend shit, and you ain't even got a title.
But
That
like,
part.
why do some like a men think that all the time? They'll be like, I know I ain't the only one, or I know I ain't the only one you talking to. And a lot of times you are the only one she talking to. Like, and I'll just speak for me
No,
personally.
no.
I'm not gonna
Notice I
talk
ain't
for
say.
all women.
Notice I ain't said. I ain't. I didn't go there with saying I'm saying I know I ain't the only one who wants you. I ain't the
Right.
only one
But
who's
even that,
trying. You may
even
not
if
be
it's not
entertaining
the
it.
only one that want her, you probably the only one she's giving time and attention to. And I say that because as me personally, I don't have the attention span for multiple people. Okay? I don't. I don't. If I'm talking to a dude, I'm talking to that dude because it's enough for me to try to figure out ways to communicate with you with everything else I got going on. So as far as trying to juggle multiple dudes, I don't have the attention span for that. So if a dude be like, I know I'm the only one that wants you, yeah, but you're the only one that I'm giving attention to. So this other person don't matter. And I don't need you in competition with him because there is no competition. You the only one I'm giving my energy to. So
So
what somebody
I'm gonna
else
give you
talking
two
about,
answers on that.
that's irrelevant.
I'm gonna give you two answers on that. My answer for me.
Okay.
Y'all excuse me. I know y'all don't know this side of me, but this is just who I am internally. I could give a fuck about what any other man is trying to do with you. I really could. I'm me. And when I make my approach, I know what I'm after. And I know who I am, and that's all I'm focused on. I don't My competition is irrelevant to me. You feel me? I am my competition. That's how I view myself. Now there are some others who don't have that level of confidence, if you will. And they're always going, it's a form of insecurity, if you will.
Mhm.
Um, but at the same time, we ain't stupid because the insecurity is there for a reason. You ain't never known a woman who would have had a different man for a different job. This is Chuck. Chuck get my nails done. This is Larry. Larry get my hair done. This is Roscoe. He got the good thing. We call him Roscoe because that's the hobo.
Yeah.
You know,
Homosexual. Yeah.
right. But we know plenty of women like that. And they
Mhm.
don't want to be honest about it. But we know because we was
So
one
I
of them
think this
dudes
goes
before.
back to what Cheryl was saying when she was like, I keep attracting this same person. There are dudes that literally attract the same ratchet chick all the time. And then you meet a woman who is not like that, but you treat her as if she's like that because that's what you're used to, because that's what you keep going after. So at some point, everybody's going to have to ask themselves the question, why do I keep attracting this type of person? Because
My
then
question.
when you get to the person that's not like that, but you, like, don't talk to me about, Tiffany, because Tiffany did da 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 da. I'm Randy, and I'm not gonna pay for Tiffany's sins. Like, you're
Yeah.
not gonna talk to me like, oh well, that's what she did. That's her. That's not me. And if
That's
I'm
a
telling, like, you
people
have to
thing.
understand that you can't deal with everybody
Mhm.
like you dealing with everybody. It's not everybody's not the same person. So
See,
you
here's
That's
the
have
a
to ask
thing.
people
yourself
thing.
why you keep attracting the same raggedy chick that do
Mhm.
stuff like that. Maybe it's you.
You know
That's a
why?
people thing.
Because that's the
For
messy
real.
part of healing. That's the messy part. That's
Yeah.
where it gets confusing and muddled because Joe hurt Tracy. Tracy got hurt by Marlon. So now they in each other faces, and they haven't healed or come to terms to some degree with whatever happened in that past relationship to close it out.
Mhm.
They have, what's that song by Erica Badu? Beg a lady.
Yeah.
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah. She got
Hey,
Joe and
beg
Marlon and all these
a
other things.
lady. That's what's happening. We won't let shit go.
Mm.
That's what started my healing journey. The minute I decided to start letting shit go, had to let it go. That's when I
I'm
was
gonna
like,
do this
okay,
and then I'm gonna buy out. Let me do this and I'm gonna buy out.
okay.
So I've been divorced before.
Mm-hmm,
Um and to get to that point, being the son of a preacher,
mm-hmm.
in the high, ranking Christians, I guess you could say, in
Oh yeah,
my,
I know.
family, divorce is a hell no. It's not a no, it's a hell no. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And so, if I may be honest, I got married at 21. I'm trying to give little detail because I don't want to,
Oh no, we're not trying to get
um,
sued. You make sure you keep
no,
certain
no,
things.
no, it ain't even sued. It's just, I have made a vow for my son. I will not embarrass him by spilling too much.
Right.
So, I have to protect her to protect him.
That's right.
Um, so
So
no,
what real men do,
I,
Wolf.
I got married at 21, and probably after the first year, it was going to shit.
Oh,
And I fought tooth and nail 4 more years
okay. Oh,
until I just,
Wow.
I can't, I
mm,
can't, I can't, I can't. I was broken by the time this thing was. I didn't recognize myself. And so when you say let go, it was, I held on for all the wrong reasons. I held on for, what the family gonna say, what a holiday is gonna look like.
right.
What if this is just, us just get, because we still young, and it'll change, it'll get better. I'm like, bro, you've been saying this gonna get better for a while now. Like,
Mm.
yeah, I got married and you was 21, but you finna be 26. You almost to 30. Like, you on the other side now at 25. And I know that sounds young, but you got to think about how young I stepped off anything. So
Right.
I begged, I pleaded, I cried, I asked friends, which is something you shouldn't do, but I was desperate. Can you talk to your girl, please? Like, you know.
Mm,
And so, when none of it worked, I made one last, and this is how I operate, because I hate the feeling of a broken heart.
right.
I said, please don't get me to the stage where I milk you out my soul, which is when I cry, gut wrenching crying. When I
Mm-hmm.
milk you out my soul, it's a wrap.
Mm,
I don't go backwards. And I don't know, I don't, I guess I wasn't taken seriously. But I remember night number one, I slept in the room by myself. There was no knock on the door. There was no come to bed. There was no can I lay with you? Nothing. This went on for 3 nights straight. And I said, she don't need me.
mm,
She done. Like, she good without me. And that's when it just happened. So by
Mm.
the
mm,
time that happened, I woke up, everything's puffy, swollen, got,
mm,
showered, washed my face. I went on about my day, but that was it.
mm,
I let that shit go from there. I didn't really feel anything else from there on out, because I had gotten all the disappointment, anger, and everything. I let that shit go.
mm-hmm.
And I
Mm.
encourage other people. I know it might sound easy as,
It's a process. It's not
said than
easy. It's
done,
definitely a process.
but it's a hard part to get to. Like,
Mm,
that's a brick wall. And I had to run through it because I knew I wasn't gonna get through it no other way.
mm.
I'm tired
Yeah.
of bumping my head. I got knots of it, but you got to run through this thing. And that's where I had to. All right, this is where healing's gonna have to take place.
Yep.
And when I got
It,
to the
it,
other
it
side,
do.
I wiped the mirror. Who is this dude I'm looking at?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't recognize that guy.
Mm.
Yep.
Wow.
I had got there. Like your children is like what really. If you have kids, you have a relationship. If you can easily leave a marriage if you don't have any kids tied to it. Okay,
That's a
if that
whole
that's what
nother.
when you
That's a
Yeah.
have
whole nother.
children tied to it. Oh, when we
That's a.
announced our divorce to our children, I literally was like, we're going to still do functions together to transition our kids as smoothly as possible through this, which happens fine until one of the other partners introduce a new person, a new
Mm.
partner in their life. Then you really realize whether you're healed or you were suppressing. All right. And then that's kind of where the rubber hit the road for me and my girls. Like, are we healed or are we suppressing? So for the first 2 years, everything was fine. We did functions together. So then my ex did start dating again, which there is nothing wrong with that. We had split ways. Now, there was some other complications and a bunch of unanswered questions. So when he suddenly came out with someone else, my kids began to form their own opinions because they did not have answers. And I did not have answers for them. And it's not my place to be telling information that I don't have concrete, that's not my place. His story is his story to tell. And so that began like this whole, and we're still working through it. We're still working through bits and pieces and parts and hurt and what they think are lies versus secrets versus why can't you just be honest? Mama, why didn't you say? Mama, why didn't you do? Why did you just say okay? Why did you just go with the flow? Because I understand some fundamental truths, and we need to take a break. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to come right back with what those fundamental truths are. Thank y'all for joining. Keep watching. We got to take a break, though. We'll be right back. Hi, I was going to start talking, but that is the ad for 1-800-RESUMES. This is the sponsor for our show tonight, 1-800-RESUMES.com, where you can get a resume for $44.44. Not only a resume, but a cover letter as well. So please reach out. I know it has a deadline there, but don't worry about that. $44.44. Get your best job today. I can help you do that. Thank you, Wayne. Yay. Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining us, welcome to the show. If you tuned in at the beginning, we're talking about the messiness of healing. And I was talking about what made me realize some things. So fundamental truths I realized when my marriage ended. First of all, you cannot make a person love you the way you want to be loved.
Right.
Okay. We're all individuals. That was the hardest lesson for me to learn was, okay, our paths are different. We're moving in different directions. Not to say that my ex didn't love me. However, he was moving in a different direction. And the hardest thing for people to let go of is the hurt, because they'll say, how did you betray me like this? And why did you do this to me? And what did the other person have that I didn't have? Now, I did ask myself that stuff temporarily when he first came out with this other person that he is now married to. It was like, I think, right at 2021, like right in at the Thanksgiving 2021 is when it was. So between Thanksgiving 2021 and Christmas 2021, I like had this whole mental breakdown internally. And I did express some of this to him as well. But here's the thing, my divorce was already final, signed, done deal. Had been a done deal for a year, actually. So when my birthday rolled around, right before my birthday, which is December 30th, I had already started dating and started kind of asking myself some questions. Let me re-examine myself. Let me look at myself in the mirror and see, who I really am. But in that moment, I really had a moment because I was crying and everything. And I was like, wait a minute, at least my higher self, that person, that self you say, Elaine, that self that's 10 years in the future. I promised you that shit came to me and was like, what the fuck are you doing?
And she will show up.
You are.
Right. She will show up.
The goal is still to walk in love. The goal is still legacy wealth for your family. And you're darn sure not going to get there sitting on this floor crying over a door that closed.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, the way in which it was torn down is the lesson for you. What are you going to do to rebuild it? Because this is not it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, you know what? And I was literally talking to myself. And I will say this, I did have a beautiful bathroom to cry in. So I'm all in the mirror. You know what?
Yes.
What is this? So I was like, fuck it. Yeah, I'm gonna be my best self regardless, right? Tears and all. What's the like the whole thing? I'm like, what the frick? Then I said I'm gonna date. In dating without knowing how to date, I follow this guy on TikTok. He's a dating coach for Black and brown women. I need to find his information to post it. But I've been following him and I made all the mistakes he said not to make. Dating, like when you first date, don't go to the man's house, have him come to you or bring you somewhere safe to eat out. I ran into that situation, and those type of things, like texting someone, and then and me, this is my measure for a text. Now, if I text you and I see a sea of green or a sea of blue and you are not texting me back, I'm automatically block you. I can't do it. But I've like all the mistakes that they say you to not make in dating. I made all of goddamn mistakes in the span of like 2 years. I was like, okay, this gotta stop. This is ridiculous.
But I
Right?
think we don't know how to date. That's not something that
Yeah.
that's not something that we see. And I think the only reason I knew what dating looked like, I was a
Mhm.
TV person. Like growing up as a teenager, I watched TV. And so you watched, TV characters go on dates and what it meant to date.
Right.
Like I, grew up with the Full House and the Family Matters, but I also grew up
Mhm.
with 90210 and Melrose Place. So I saw that and I kind of understood that's what
Mhm.
dating was. And my parents would say stuff like, "You ain't got no boyfriend. You too young to have a boyfriend." Y'all. And we would always say stuff in school. We just talking. And for
Mhm.
us, talking meant dating. We weren't in a relationship. We weren't
Right.
exclusive. So it's like it depends on what you see. But a lot of people in the Black community do not understand what
Mhm.
dating is. And it's like they feel like if you spent 24 hours together, y'all in a relationship, y'all
No.
together. There's the label. If I say good morning to you 3 times in a row, we together. And you be
Right.
like, no, no. So I
What
think
you
like
say?
dating is something that like, we don't do. And a lot of people, misconstrue dating with being fast because that means you doing a whole bunch of stuff with a whole bunch of dudes. And that's not dating. Dating is literally going out, having a conversation, and then taking your behind home. That does not mean you sleeping with everybody. It doesn't mean everybody seeing you naked. It doesn't mean that y'all doing stuff. You're
Right.
literally taking the time to have conversation, get to know each other. And that's a date.
Mhm.
If you go to dinner and the movies, that's a date. If y'all do that 3 times, that's dating. That's
Right.
date. Like that's what it is. So people just, everybody want to skip to the,
They
movie
want to
night
skip to the
at the
facts.
house.
No,
We
that's
not
not what we
Netflix
do.
and chilling. Like
Yeah.
in 2 weeks. Why is you Netflix and chilling after 2 weeks? We always want to push things so far so quickly because it's like we
Mhm.
feel like I need to grab on you and put a title on you so you don't go anywhere. That is not how you keep somebody. A person, look, people gonna do what people gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Like when people be like, "Oh, she stole my this or he stole my that." You don't steal people that unless
No.
you kidnapping. Okay?
Right.
People do and go where they want to go and who they want to
Mhm.
do it with.
By
They want
choice.
to right. So it's like they didn't steal them; they left. They
Yep.
walked away with them, and people want to put a title on somebody so quick and yoke them up. That's not gonna keep them because you can say that's my boyfriend all day long, but if he
Look,
decides, no, I'm not.
Wayne, look at this comment. Look, Wayne.
Why have I heard
Right.
women say an ice cream date isn't a date? They've been saying if you broke, just say that. Look, let me tell you something. It's a whole bunch of women out here these days.
Mhm.
The game has changed.
Mhm.
The standards have changed as far as the understanding goes, as far as dates. Now,
Right.
some people be like, let's go meet for coffee. That's a date. You're going to have a conversation, and that's it. But everybody want to have this. What's your ideal date? What's your best first date? And walking on the beach and you up all night and all this other stuff. Y'all gotta be realistic. Okay, first
Mhm.
off, y'all got jobs, y'all got lives, y'all ain't got time to be spending 24 hours with nobody and ending up on y'all ain't on TV. Okay, y'all not on TV. If we can't have an ice cream day, I'm not talking to you.
Oh
But
my
it's like
goodness.
we got to think about, what are your standards even realistic? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then even that, what are you looking for? Like at 40 years old, I'm dating with a purpose.
Right.
I'm not looking for a hangout person. I got a best friend for that. You know, I'm not looking for somebody that I could just chill with and we can watch sports with. I got brothers for that. Like,
Right.
I'm looking for a relationship. So if we're not even both looking for a relationship, why am I dating you? That doesn't make any sense. Like, what are your expectations? What are your goals? You just want somebody to hang with, or you trying to actually end up moving into something? And people don't want to take the time to think about that. Like, people don't take the time to be single.
That
Like,
part.
everybody, you know, in society, you could be so successful. And the next thing they say, oh, well, you ain't married yet. First of
Look
all,
at
you're not
Courtney
going to
say.
judge the success of my life based off a relationship, because there's
That
a
part.
lot of people in relationships that's miserable as hell.
They are.
And I'm peaceful as hell when I go to sleep at night. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And it's like so many people are afraid to be single. So they rush into something or they stay in something toxic because this society has made it seem like being single is like some kind of indictment on who
Yeah,
you are as a person. You need to be single, because if you don't like hanging out with you, how the hell somebody else gonna like hanging out with you?
that part.
Like, that
That
doesn't
is
make any
the
sense.
part. Like, oh
You
my
don't
God.
want to spend time with you. Why would anybody else want to spend time with you? When they say stuff like, what you like to do for fun? Well, what do you like to do for fun? No, pimping, what do you like to do for fun? Like, if you can't answer none of these questions, maybe you need to start dating yourself. Like, you
That
need to start
part.
dating you, because you don't know you. So how you finna get somebody else to fall in love with you and you don't love you enough to date you and be you and develop you and grow? Come on now. Like, you
Oh
asking for too
my.
much.
Yeah. Preach, preacher. And you just gave a whole lesson right there. The whole thing is, and this is where the conclusion I came to. If I keep attracting a certain kind of person, if let me look at me in the mirror. Okay,
Mm,
do I love me? I
mm.
ask myself that. How much do I love me? Thank you, Deb. And Courtney put a comment up too across the screen. Thank you, Courtney. Anything outside of my normal time to life is a date. So, Courtney ain't got time today.
Ice cream, coffee, walk in the park, whatever simple way I can get.
I can
Yes,
get to know you.
yes,
It's
all of
like,
that is a date.
and then Deb said, what did Deb say when we popped that back up? Yes, you need to love you if you want others to love you. And that is what I had to learn. And I'm still learning this. I do want to share a TikTok that I found was it summarized my life right now, what I'm going through. Because I love me. I'm learning to love me, all the
Yeah.
parts of me, of my body, my physical body that I began to just pick apart because I had been married for 25 years. I had been with my ex-spouse for 4 years prior to that. So literally that was the longest running, besides my relationship with myself, relationship that I had. So of course, going from 14 to 16 in that beautiful body, that was like a size 3 or some shit,
Oh
to
my.
this lovely curvy body.
Come on,
You gotta
Curve.
learn curvy, baby, and I love it.
Yes.
But I had to grow to learn love this version of me. This is the grown up version of me. So the first lesson for me, and you probably could relate to this, Elaine, was this. It was, I have to learn love this version. I have to let go of anything
Mm,
in the past that I thought was me. I had to let go of whatever version that other people may have thought of me, my parents, my church people, my so-called friends at the time. And a lot of them have fallen by the wayside, to be
mm.
honest with you. Because when you start growing, this is lonely as shit. Uh, you got that TikTok? Play that TikTok right quick.
Why ain't nobody said making boundaries and standards and shit is this hard? This shit is hard as fuck. This life ain't for the weak, bitch. I ain't gonna lie. At this point, you know what I'm saying? Cause it's like, damn, I love you, but I love me too. You know what I'm saying? But I love you like a lot, and I love me more. But my heart like really wants you, but my brain telling me, bitch, you stupid. And I want you around, but then I don't want you around. I really don't even like you, but I'm really, really, really in love with you, and I can't wait for us to get married in the future. But damn, bitch, you could go to hell. What the fuck? I'm sick of this. Get me out of here.
I love him. I literally just saw that yesterday, cracking my side, because that's
Hold on
real
me.
life.
That's y'all got. I will post his at later because I do want to give him credit for that. But that is literally what healing is. I'm learning to set boundaries. I'm learning to love me. Me. I found somebody that I like, but it started off honestly as just a sexual connection, and now I'm like, now I got to put a boundary on that. I gotta set some rules. And if said person don't follow these boundaries or whatever, and I wish that person well, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure they're on their own journey. That's the other thing you got to keep in mind while you're running your narrative in your head and you're on your journey and you're trying to be your best self. You're processing all of these overwhelming emotions. And the person, if you're dealing with one person sexually, fine. If you're dealing with multiple, my hat's off to you. I don't know how you're doing it. Dating is another thing. You can easily date. Thank you for posting his TikTok. If anyone wants to follow him, that is funny. And it was like so on point. But yeah, I'm trying to process all this stuff and be amazing and walk in love, because the goal for this entire channel is to walk in love with God, yourself, and with others, to work on becoming your best self, your highest self, your authentic self every day. And that shit looks messy. Sometimes I can't stand my coworkers. Sometimes I can't stand my neighbors. It's like I love, but at the same time, it's like he said in that video.
Right. Right.
It's like,
right.
Fuck, I'm out. Like I quit life today. I quit
and
life and take a nap.
Someday, I tell people all the time, when I get on my own nerves, I take a nap. We just gonna reset. I'm gonna lay down, and then I'm gonna get up, and I'm gonna just reset. But I think the biggest thing is when it comes to your healing, it's not one of those things that's like a straight line. Like there are, the speed bumps in the road. There's the left, there's the right. There's the turnabout that gets confusing, and you in the turnabout longer than you're supposed to be, and then you get off on the wrong turnabout, and then you got to go back through the turnabout to get on the right one. It's so many twists and turns to healing, because as you're starting to heal from one thing, it's kind of like your physical body. If you ever get in a car accident, the top things are the ones that hurt the most. Once you go through the healing process of those, then the other little ones start acting. You're like, I didn't know that was hurting, because you got rid of the main one. And so now all the smaller ones it's the same thing with our emotional healing. You think it's, the breakup, and you're like, that was my main, source of pain. And then you start to realize that maybe it was a good thing we separated because we weren't the best for each other. But then you start realizing, okay, how did we end up together in the first place? Where was I in that moment where I decided to commit to this person? When did I realize that I should have let go, but I stayed longer? What did that trigger? And it's like all those other things start triggering. So when you start healing, it's the big one, then the next, the big one, then the smaller one, and the smaller one, and the smaller one. And now you realizing that you're still dealing with something from when you were a kid that you never healed from. And this is why I say therapy is important, because you got to get to the root of some stuff when you're trying to heal. And it's not just the one thing that just happened. It's things that led up to it. It's red flags you ignored, even on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell people all the time, one of the things I had to realize in a relationship is when I get angry, I can be unkind in the way that I communicate. And even though my intention is to be positive, because I'm trying to get you to think and I'm trying to get you to see a better way of doing things, I cannot beat you over the head with the truth. I cannot be like, are you freaking kidding? Like, okay, duh, I can't do that. Because if we're in a relationship and I love you, I can't punch you in the face with the truth just because it's the truth. I still have to be kind in the way that I speak to you, and I still have to consider your feelings, because once this problem goes away, now we have to look at, why did you just talk to me like that? Why did you say that to me? And then I have to go back and apologize, and I hate apologizing. I'm gonna just be honest, I can't stand it. But it's like, so I have to think like, why did I do that? Well, that's because there were times when I was growing up, I didn't feel heard. So I forced my opinion in that conversation, because so many times I didn't feel heard. I didn't feel seen. So those are things that you have to deal with. You have to deal with all of that stuff. And that's why being single is important. Don't move to the next relationship asking for it to heal you from the previous one. You need to heal from the previous one before you get two broken people getting into a relationship ends up with more broken pieces.
That part.
And you got to heal first. And that's going to be one, you got to be honest with yourself. It's not always the other person's fault. Everything is not always the other person's fault. And you're going to have to start looking at what you contributed And sometimes we don't want to do that. No, because I was the victim. And God
That's
forbid
right.
somebody cheat. Now it's like, oh, well, shit, I ain't got to admit nothing I did. They cheated. So it's all their
Right.
fault. Nah. Like we gotta really look at how do we contribute. Like one of the things I realized is even in my trying to be supportive, there were times where I emasculated him because I did everything for him and I did not allow him to move and be a man. And in my head, I'm like, no, I was having his back. I was being supportive, but I was stopping him from being a man. And if I'm stopping you from being a man, then I can't be mad when you stop being a man and stop doing what men are supposed to do and stepping up. You didn't have to. I kept stepping up for both of us. And I had to realize there's a difference in being supportive and stopping you from doing what you need to do. And I had to accept that. You know, yeah, it was easy to be like, he was a punk, he didn't step up. Or did I emasculate you because I was doing all the work myself?
And here's the thing. It goes back.
Here's
the thing. You hit on it. Hey, Tammy, I spelled your name wrong. I'm so sorry. And hello, everyone that has joined. We appreciate you joining. But here's the thing. It goes back to what you said from childhood. And in a lot of and this has been talked about on multiple podcasts on YouTube. And it's starting to become part of the psychological journey, part of the mental health journey, part of the therapeutic journey. We are hyper independent because we have been taught, especially as Black women, I can speak from this perspective, to be hyper independent, to be strong for our families in the absence of a male figure. Now, that's not every Black household, but the ones that I grew up with, I grew up in Carver Heights, which was the projects. My mom and dad stayed separated for 6 years or something like that, 5-6 years. And we grew up in that environment where we saw strong Black women. And the men who were around were either living with the women, they really weren't contributing, unless they was contributing through selling drugs or some other kind of hustle they had going on.
Yeah.
I can name on one hand the couples in our families that were together, and like my aunts. Well, shoot, I can name some couples that had common law marriages outside of my grandparents and a few of my aunts and stuff, but they weren't the most healthy. They weren't a healthy version of what it should be. So that emasculation, it's like it's not in our DNA, but we grew up with it. So psychologically, it's there. And it's like, if you can't do it for me, move out the way. I'm going to do it myself. Yeah. Anyway, one of my issues I learned, I am very dismissive. I don't mean to be. It's something I'm working on. It's something that I've become cognizant of. But I sat back. I took a step back because being married, I got married at 18 and I grew through that. And I made a lot of dumb mistakes. I made a lot of poor choices. I made a lot of selfish choices. Some of them weren't poor choices. They were selfish choices because of what I wanted to do. And I have forgiven myself for all of those things because that was my experience. I didn't have enough lived experience to be married at such a young age. That's why I encourage people, like you said, to be single. Be single long enough to learn what you want and don't want, what you like and don't like, what your triggers are. To be accountable as a human being, to have integrity, to have to learn that and be in a relationship with somebody. And kudos to the couples who have been together for 50 years. I love the movie, The Notebook. Shining example of a couple that stayed together to the end. He died and she died. And that's the goal, right? Or she died and he died right next to her. That's the goal. You know? They went through some issue in that movie together. And like it goes back to lack of commitment. We don't want to go the distance anymore. But man, to speak on accountability, that's where I'm at. I was very dismissive. Or we could have an argument, my ex-spouse and I would tune straight out.
Yeah.
Like I could be flipping the TV. He could be going ham. Thank you, Tammy. He could be going ham about something. Like I ain't even reacting. And then when I did react, it was aggressive. You know, it was very aggressive. Because I was raised that way. Because I'm one of those like, okay, you that bad, knock this chip off my shoulder. We going in. So you talk all you want till you knock this chip off my shoulder.
Right.
So you got to recognize when sometimes it's you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that dismiss the things that our partners do? No. But they have their own healing journey. They gotta
Right.
be accountable to themselves. That's the part. That's that part. That's that messy, hard part, because you want to say, but they did this to me, and look at this, and look how my life
Yeah.
turned out. Our life is the sum total of the choices we make.
Yeah.
It's our life. So we can't blame anybody else if it doesn't work. He broke my heart. He did this. He did that. I'm going to get back at him. I'm going to get back at her. I'm going to get back. And all karma is going to do it. You can call it the universe. You can call it God, because God will make you repeat a lesson until you learn it. Remember the children of Israel walked around that mountain for 46 years? You know why they kept walking around that mountain? Some of them never learned the lesson they're supposed to learn. Thank you.
They hard
They
headed.
never learned to give God praise. They never learned to be humble. They never learned to say, okay, thank you, God. I appreciate it. He gave a manna from heaven, girl. They complained about that.
Right.
He said, okay, Moses, give them some water out that rock over there. They complained about that. God was like, okay, you ain't learned. You're not grateful. Keep on walking. You ain't learned your lesson. So that's how he does with some of us today. He just can't make us walk.
We just walking and walking and walking. And he, you know what? He'll even test us. He'll put something or somebody in and let me see how they. Nope. Keep walking. You ain't got it yet. Keep on walking. And you like, I'm so tired. Learn the damn lesson. Learn the lesson. And I think the biggest thing with a lot of us, you know, we love the word accountability until it applies to us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we want to be like, no, they need to be held accountable. Let them take accountability for them. You can't take accountability for them. Like, you have to do it for you. And I think so often we skip over that part because we just want to be like, it was all the other person. It was all the other person. Or I was just reacting. And it's like, you weren't just reacting. You were actively participating in the foolishness. And until we can say, you know what, I'm going to stop actively participating in the foolishness. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't keep blaming the other person, and you can't keep waiting for them to, and you know, a lot of times we'll be like, well, I'm waiting on them to like realize, no, because if you're healing, it ain't even about them at this point. It's not about whether they admit, whether they apologize, whether they show remorse, whether they even acknowledge. It's not about them at all, because there are times we have to understand that closure that you think you need or the type of closure you're looking for may never come.
That's right.
And do you really want to stunt your growth waiting for somebody else? Like, why give them that kind of power to stop or start your healing process, waiting for them to say, hey, you know what? I did that. I'm sorry. Because if they never do it, are you really going to say, well, I'm just not going to grow until you say, I was wrong. You are you.
Until you say you sorry, I'm gonna sit over here and be miserable because I'm waiting. And every time I see you, I'm gonna be like,
so you ready to admit to what you did now? No. No. Because I didn't look at you like that was 2 years ago. Why you still mad about that?
You still on it?
Like, we done moved on. Like, we ain't even like, and you like, bruh.
He said that's the perspective people don't want to see. Yeah, at the end of the day, this is the hard lesson. When it comes to healing, it hurts. It hurts to look in a mirror and say, it's a movie. I can't think of the movie, but in the name of the movie, I have to look it up and post it. I was watching one night, and the guy was kind of an asshole. You know, he was a good guy. He tried to do for who he wanted to do for, you know, who he needed to do for, and he found a son, and they found out whatever. At the end of the movie, he was sitting there, and he said, you know what? After reflection, he was like, I did those things. I said those things. Yeah, I was kind of an asshole.
Wow.
He said, but it's all a part of it.
Wow.
He's like, I'll be okay. And I was like, people have to do that. And I was like, yeah, that's me. I did some things. I said some things.
I might have said something that I didn't.
I've grown from it. And the idea is not to repeat it, right?
Right.
I'm going to share something in an infographic that I made in just a minute, because I want it to be available to all of you to help you in your own journey. But in this dating scene, I met a guy who up front, I did not know he was married, because of course people lie. So we go out on this wonderful date. Oh, it was so wonderful. Went to a nice restaurant. It was a live band. We had good food, blah, blah, blah. End of the night, everything went well. Of course, he had to get home. So he had to get home. And that kind of was the thing. The timing kept not being quite right. Oh, I can only come at this time, or I can only come at this time, or don't call me between these hours and these hours. I'm working. I'm like, you have the oddest work hours.
What do you do? What you do?
What you doing? What you do for a living? So, long story short, I asked enough questions, and this is the thing I learned to do in this dating game: ask as many questions as you need to. If they run away, whether it's male or female, it doesn't matter. If they run away, they're hiding something. God is saving you from whatever that heartbreak is about to be. Anyway, long story short, he did admit to being married. And I was like, okay, we can't talk. This date is over. Working on his wife, girlfriend. That's what he was working on. That's exactly why I could call him at a certain time. Anyway, I asked, and he was like, okay, yeah, I'm married. And I was like, well, you're gonna have to, I'm gonna have to block you. I don't know how else to say that. But thank you for letting me know you was married. And he was like, oh no, we can still be friends. And here, no, we can't.
No.
So this is one of the lessons I have learned in this dating game, which right now I'm not dating because I have decided I don't want to get in a relationship. So there's no point in me dating. I don't want a relationship at this time. I'm good. But this is one of these occasions where I'm like, okay. And so he was like, no, we can still be friends because my wife and I are going through or whatever. And this is where I was like, oh, I've grown because I didn't need the external validation. Yes, you give me gifts. Yes, you were giving me nice things, but I don't need any of that. I'm whole and content within myself.
Yeah.
Now, and this is what I said to this guy, because I said, apparently there are people that know you and they know you're married and they know you're out here running around on your wife. I was like, sir, karma is real. That shit is going to come back on you some kind of way. So you really need to go home and fix things. And this is me telling you something. I've lived this myself. I wasn't the perfect wife. I made mistakes. That was one of them. If you can't fix whatever you got going on, sir, at your house, I need you to sit down and reflect and go let your wife know that's not where you want to be. I asked him, are you happy at home? He was like, for the most part, I'm happy. It just is slacked off in the bedroom. Well, go unslack that shit.
Right.
He fell out laughing. He was like, you're the first woman to like literally say this. He was like, most women will be like, yeah, they cool with the gifts or whatever. No, because spiritually now I understand. Energetically, I understand that although it seems innocent enough, it's not, because you are indirectly hurting your family and yourself because there's something missing in you. You're trying to find outside of your marriage, which I guarantee you, whatever you're looking for, your wife, the one you committed to, she got it. God got it. And you got it within yourself.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. I done took my first pro bono client last night.
I'm like, honey, you ended up being a whole therapist for this man. This life coach session,
It's not even him. I just thought to say there was another guy, and I don't talk to this guy. I actually did a resume for this guy. And he kept calling me and asking me for advice. And last night he called, he texted. And I was like, you know what? I'm just about to take you on as a life client because you asked me the most questions about everything. I was like, I'm just going to do it.
Sign you up, honey. Let's just sign you up.
Matter of fact, I need to get him on the show. He had the most questions, and I need a man to answer this young man's questions because some of the questions he had are really for like a man to answer. But so far as coaching structure, I got you. So long story short, here come
He said, I'm in the building.
Look, this is a young man you're going to have a conversation with. Good young man. He is a good young man. He is ready. He's 28 years old. He is ready to be somebody's husband, but he wants to work on him. He's like, that's why I keep asking you all these questions. So anyway, that's a side note. But I've learned that it's messy. It gets messy. I'm just going to not date right now. I'm going to continue to work on myself because it was disappointing a little bit to find out the guy was married. Because when you come along, you're on your own healing journey, you're single and you're doing right, and you expect everybody you run into to be the same. And that's not the case. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit because then our emotions get involved. Like that video we saw where he was like, I love you, but I hate you. And it's hard. And then I'm trying to have boundaries and I'm trying to set rules. And then This is what I've learned to do. And I made a little infographic, and it's not little. One of my friends told me, stop saying that, Cheryl. I made an infographic to help us out, and it will be available for you all on my website to download. But it is things that can help you on your journey as you heal. So 6 easy ways to process overwhelming emotions, because we go through this. The first thing is to make time for whatever you are feeling, because at any given moment we could be good and then we get that gut-wrenching feeling, or we'll have a thought. We're having a good day and we ruin our own day by having a bad thought. We'll dedicate a few minutes in a comfortable setting to just sit with whatever is going on. There's nothing wrong with that, no matter how big, small the situation. If it's something that you're going through, sit with it for a moment. Sometimes we don't want to deal with it. We don't want to feel the pain. We don't want, whatever it is, we don't want to sit with it. So we run and do a million thousand other myriad of things instead of just sitting in a comfortable spot and thinking it through, like actually sitting down and allowing your left brain, your left brain feeling, emotion, and your right brain logical thinking part sit and have a conversation with itself.
Yeah.
And that can happen because one side of our brain is very, very logical and the other side is very emotional. And if you sit down and think through anything, you will begin to process some things. So that's the first thing. Sit with it for a few minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Don't turn on no crazy music. And when I say crazy music, I just mean music. Unless it's instrumental, because music comes with its own set of energy,
emotions and stuff.
Yeah. So if you can sit quietly with your thoughts for a moment, this is a learned skill. Number 2, sit with your thoughts. Number 2, taking note of the physical sensations. What does this thing make you feel like? Is it something sinking in your stomach? Is your heart palpitating? Is your skin prickly? Do you feel a way? Because sometimes people will say, I feel a way, but they can't figure out what they feel. Pay attention to your physical body and what sensations you are feeling. You're getting real hot. You're getting real cold. You're getting clammy and sweaty. What are you feeling? And attempt to name what that is. That's number 3. Attempt to name that feeling. It's not as easy as it sounds, but it can help if you put a name to it. Like sometimes I don't know what I'm feeling. It's like that in-between feeling. This is the example I give in number 3. I call it meh. Not good, not bad, but I'm feeling away. I need to think about how I'm feeling. Put a name to it. Sometimes I'm spicy. Sometimes I'm saucy. Sometimes it's like, I feel like a possum. Like slow and crawly. And I literally want to stand in front of a car in the middle of the road in the middle of the night because I'm frustrated,
Right.
And that's what it makes you do. If you can relate it to something else, you'll eventually get to what that feeling is. And number 5, I think we have 5 and 6 left. Number 4, I'm sorry, I skipped one. Decide if the feeling is justified. This is important. So reflecting on whether the emotion is a justified response to whatever situation that you have coming up, or whether it's something else. I said from somewhere else, coming from somewhere else. Think about that. Is this feeling justified? Example, I'm at work. Debbie doesn't speak to me today. I don't know why. I walk in, I'm happy. Good morning, Debbie. And Debbie gives me the stink eye, but Debbie doesn't speak. Now I'm feeling away because Debbie didn't speak to me. Why didn't Debbie speak to me? I didn't do anything to Debbie. I just said good morning to Debbie. Right? Good morning, Debbie. She didn't say nothing. She got stink face. What does that make me feel like? I'm slighted. I feel disrespected by Debbie because Debbie didn't speak to me. Is my emotion justified? Maybe. But then in the break room later on, I see Debbie and I ask, hi, Debbie. I notice you're not having a great day today. Is there anything I can do for you? Sometimes that's disarming for a person. Debbie might be the kind of person that says, I just don't like you. So I didn't speak. And see, this is when your healing gonna get tested. She may just say, I don't like you, Cheryl. I don't want you speaking to me. Okay, I understand. This is the last time I'll speak to you. You have a wonderful day. And I would walk off because now I understand whatever Debbie's going through, it clearly has nothing to do with me. Now, me feeling disrespected is justified because clearly she has an issue with me that I didn't know about. She told me she didn't like me. Okay, great. What is the emotion trying to tell you? I'm disrespected. I'm the kind of person where I will go and ask because I want to clear the air. This is a simple example. Some of these situations get really, really, really messy in the case of finding closure and not finding closure. If you find that it's something that you're looking for closure from, your feelings may be justified. Okay. But in the event that it is not justified, and this was number 6, sit down and reflect on a different way to look at it, right? If the emotion isn't justified, try to reframe the situation you're reacting to, or what you might say to a friend in a similar situation. So take yourself out of it basically and say, okay, if I'm sitting across from my friend, what advice would I give my friend if they were in this same situation? Because here's the crazy part. We give our friends better advice than we give ourselves. That is crazy. So what's this conversation? What would I tell my friend in this situation? How would I have them handle that? And that just goes back to accountability. Look at it from a different perspective. We got to learn to reframe stuff. It's like watching a movie that has different camera angles. Sometimes we get tunnel vision when we only see it from our own point of view.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if you learn to switch the lens and look at it from different angles, first of all, it teaches you to be analytical, especially us as females, teaches us to be analytical and logical. So the minute we feel like we're leading with our emotions, take a step back, reframe it. And this infographic is going to be available to everyone because healing is messy. But like Dilyn said, therapy is important. Getting to the root cause of what our issues are is important. And the main thing is our longest running commitment in life is with ourselves.
Yeah.
We're going to be in this body all of our lives, all of our days. We are our longest running commitment. So we have to begin to heal and move forward for ourselves. Focus on you. There's nothing wrong with that. We've not been taught that enough.
Right.
Love you. Focus on you. Heal you. Grow you. Is it going to be triggering at times? Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Right. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just talking all over.
No. But I do want to talk about when you were talking about sitting with your feelings. I think that is something that we don't do enough. We try to rush through it because we try to tell ourselves, nope, I'm good, I'm fine. And then we try to rush, through that process, and then we're not fine. And then something else triggers, and then it piles on. And I think that's the biggest thing is like, really sitting with that feeling and identifying it, figuring it out, because that's what's going to help you. That helps even those daily little moments where we have to heal from something, that helps. One of the things I like to do is I like to write down. I love to journal, and I will literally just write down, not even like a whole sentence, paragraph stuff. Mm-hmm. All those things you're feeling, write them down. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling irritated. I'm frustrated. Mm-hmm. People getting on my nerves. This is getting on my nerves. Da, 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 da. And sometimes you'll realize that the person like Debbie that didn't speak to you, it's not even the fact that Debbie didn't really speak to you. It's the fact that you were already irritated about something else, and that was just something you could attach an irritation to because she didn't speak to you. So it's like you can ask yourself, okay, is it just, am I tripping? Am I tripping? Or is she tripping? Or, it's like when you start.
Debbie said she didn't like me.
But then you can tell Debbie, you know what, Debbie? Yeah, baby. You ain't got to worry about that. You ain't never got to worry about speaking to you again. And now I ain't even got to be mad about it no more. What
is like, FTB?
I don't know, but I feel like it's staying fucked there. But because that's whoa, and we never where whoa is going with this. But but like sitting with the feelings, figuring them out for yourself, that's important. And don't let anybody rush you. Like I used to hate when I would get mad and somebody would say something like, I told you for somebody. I told you. But people be like, it's other people with problems in the world and da da da. First of all,
yeah.
I'm not other people's problems in the world is not what's bothering me right now. My problem is what's bothering me right now. So you're gonna let me have my moment and sit with my feelings so I can figure them out, because solving the world's problems doesn't solve my problems.
It doesn't.
you know, and you can't let people rush you into being like, you're okay. Shut up. No, I'm not. I will
Right.
decide when I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? Sit with your feelings, bring them out so you can say, I'm okay. And then you can move on for real. And not just enough to where this person get out your face, you know, trying to convince you that you're okay. And I think that's really huge. And sometimes you can't share your feelings with everybody. Sometimes you got to sit with them yourself, you and your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You can't share them with everybody. You can't, you know, I think it's great when you have people to talk to, but sometimes the person you need to talk to is you.
Right.
You need to talk to you. You need to listen to you. You need to figure some stuff out, because sometimes, you know, that advice you give your friend, you gave it to yourself, but you ignored it because you was like, we ain't doing that. And then you yourself have to be like, yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're going to do that. So sometimes you got to sit with you and you work your feelings through with you.
I know I do. It's one of my favorite things. One of my favorite games to play with myself. Yeah. Okay?
What the hell are we feeling today?
That's right.
We need to play that game.
play that game. It's a lot of fun. I'll tell you one thing, it keeps the bullshit to a minimum, because you're not going to allow it once you recognize what it is. And I have gotten to the point where I love asking questions, all different kind of questions. I even take some of those spam calls so I can fuck with them, practice my questions. Okay, who's your boss?
You pass on the irritation to you. Spam call.
Okay, I did that the other day. I kid you not. I was like, okay, you're calling. What's your ID number again? Okay, thank you so much. What department are you transferring me to? Because they kept saying they were like, they were over my records and my account. I was like, seriously, you're over my account. Could you give me any information on said account? Have you seen my previous notes from that account? I've called several times, you know. The little rep was so goddamn confused. She didn't know what to do.
All right, she knows them notes. What notes? Yeah, them notes.
You don't have any of my notes? Girl, I've called like 20 times. Like, it should be a note. I talked to Catherine. I gave you Catherine's number. Like, all of that. Like, I'm just saying, like, you should have. And she was like, hold on. And, you know, the call center, so she was putting me on mute. And I was like, I can still hear you. Oh, my God. So much fun. Y'all need to, that is a lot of fun. It's another game I like to play.
That's hilarious.
When they call y'all, get a kick out of that. Fuck with the spam people.
Or they say, can you verify this? No. Well, is this your birthday? I know what my birthday is. Do you know what it is? Well, can you verify your address? No, I know where I live.
You know your birthday? Do you know
right. I'm like, I ain't verifying a damn thing. Nope, I'm not.
Yeah, we don't have nothing for you, babe. But yeah, that infographic will be available to you guys. Healing is, we're going to get there. And this is what I want the takeaway to be. Your journey is your journey. It's no set rule. There's no set rhyme or reason. You are growing. You will cut somebody out every now and then. It just depends on your mood. Like I said, sometimes it's not always namaste in yoga. Sometimes, like Wayne said, it's fuck that bitch and get out my face. Because people need to understand, just because you nice and you healing and you walking in love, it does not mean that they can take advantage of you.
That part.
You know, a lot of people think that, like, oh, I can take advantage of you. No, you can't. You can't take advantage of me. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to even let you. At this stage in the game, I'm going to tell you to go to hell in such a way that you'll look forward to the trip.
Okay. Yes.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to do any final words, because it's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I have to get my 100 squats in because I am doing the 100 squat a day challenge in honor of breast cancer awareness. I also got to donate my money. So if y'all support breast cancer awareness, please do that. And it's also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We do have resources tagged, pinned in the All Things Undone Facebook group for domestic violence, for suicide, for crisis management. So please check those out if you need help in any of those areas. Okay. Yeah. Any parting words, Elaine?
So this Thursday on the dive bar, our special guest will be my mommy. She's going to be talking about her surviving breast cancer, and the importance of early detection and things like that. That definitely saved her life. Early detection and consistently being checked. So she's going to be there. in the dive bar, we're kicking off Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's so important for us as women to take care of ourselves. And, we'll constantly stay on family members to take care of themselves. But I cannot with Dwayne. But, we don't take our health as seriously as we should until, something happens. So definitely want to say, kudos to you for all of the resources you're providing. And just remember that your healing journey is yours. And that if you're going to take anything seriously, it should be that, because you deserve peace. And you have to tell yourself that I deserve to live in a state of peace. I deserve to have joy. And healing from past traumas, healing from your relationships, that affords you that. And you deserve that. And there's nothing wrong with you taking charge of your life and taking charge of your healing so you can reach that state of peace and joy, because this life is short. Even if you live to be 70, 80, whatever, life is still short. And you should not live it in constant turmoil and inner turmoil and things like that. You deserve peace. So take charge of your healing and go for it. And those that don't heal with you, give them a benediction. I hope you have blessings in your life, but I got to let it go, because my healing is going to take me to a platform where I can experience more of the joy, more of the happiness. And that's important. You deserve that.
Thank you so much. And like Wayne said, yes, fellas, this applies to you too. We all deserve to live a peaceful, calm life. No one wants to be in chaos. Islands are formed through chaos, but they don't remain in chaos. All those beautiful islands we like to visit, though, some hurricane somewhere, some volcano somewhere spit up lava or spit up dirt, and up came a beautiful island. Islands are created from chaos, but they settle into peace. And that's how our lives should be. And we're young, we're doing all that. The older we get, the more peaceful life we want to live. So please check out Dilyn's Dive Bar this Thursday. No worries, I'm gonna post the link. The infographic will be available to you all to help you manage your emotions, because again, sometimes they get a little high. We got to learn to sit with it. It takes some time and some practice. This is part 1. I am trying to get my friend who is a fitness coach on here for part 2.
Come on, fitness coach.
Fitness coach. She's a fitness and wellness coach, and she actually has what's this week's drink? She actually has
pina coladas. We're making pina coladas.
Give us the recipe real quick. Give us that.
All right. So your pina colada is going to be your rum. You can do white rum or coconut rum. We're going to use coconut rum. And you're going to use some coconut milk, some pineapple juice. Shake it up. You can either do it on the rocks or you can do it in a blender. I recommend on the rocks personally because it's stronger that way. But that's what we're doing. We're doing pina coladas this week.
All right, y'all. That's the drink of the week. And don't worry, you'll get a new one when we do the show on Thursday night. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for your comments. We will have resources available to you. If you need a resume, hit us up on 1-800-resumes.com. What else? There it is, 1-800-resumes.com. I'll have those resources available, the things that we popped up on the show, available to you guys as well. I see my daughter join. Thank you, Riviera, for joining. Everyone who joined, if I didn't call your name, shout out to you all. God bless you. That's it for tonight, because I got to go get 100 squats in. Yay.
Get it in, girl. Mwah.
All right. Deuces, y'all. We're out. We're out, baby.